Hello everyone and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. Today we're talking about how the ongoing drought in Oklahoma is impacting livestock and looking at some feeding options that work both for your animals and your bottom line. We begin sorting it all out with SUNUP's Dave Deken.
The forage in Oklahoma has really taken a hit because of the drought, but Daren, the damage was really done back whenever the blizzards hit, right?
That's correct. Most of the producers did utilize during those couple of blizzards that we had back in the winter the majority of their hay supply. A couple of other things that they've had happen since that time is we've been short of moisture to increase some of our pasture growth. In a normal year, we would have probably already been on some of our spring pastures 4 or 5 weeks, and so the producers are having to continue that hay feeding period.
Now, this isn't the first year you've seen something like this. 2006 was kind of along these lines.
2006 was very similar to the way this year is shaping up, in that the fall was pretty dry, the winter was dry. A lot of the pastures in the spring didn't green up as early, and then that continued on through the summer.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that producers can do in the short term to help lessen the blow?
When you look at some of the short-term methods that they can use to reduce some of these forage deficiencies if they begin to get pretty severe, the quickest way is just to reduce the stocking rate. Stocking rate's most easily done by just reducing the number of animals. The second thing that's, we'll call it the second easiest, is to purchase hay to feed to these same animals.
What's some of the things that producers need to look for whenever they buy the hay?
Now, the most important thing that they need to consider, they need to ask if it has a forage analysis on the hay that's purchased. If it doesn't have a forage analysis, that's not the end of the road. They can still do a visual appraisal on it and then get a forage analysis conducted at a later date. Okay,
and OSU actually offers
Yeah, OSU, I looked on there, and the cost for a forage analysis that gives you crude protein and energy is $12. Yeah, when they purchase hay without a forage analysis, there are 4 key factors that they can look at. The first and most important is maturity. The presence of a large number of stems and a large number of seed heads is going to indicate a lower quality. Related to maturity is leafiness. The reason leafiness is important is because most of the nutrients are located in the leaves. Color is also an important factor to look at. It's not 100% foolproof, but a green color typically indicates higher potential forage quality. The fourth one, and this is one that's a little not visual appraisal, it's odor.
Right.
Okay, you can smell the hay. Good hay will have a nice smell to it. If you smell a dusty or musty odor, that indicates that the hay was probably baled when it was a little too wet.
Right.
Okay. Now that may or may not necessarily affect the forage quality. You can actually have hay that's musty with a high forage quality. What that affects is the animal's acceptability of consuming it.
Now, Daren, if the drought does continue, you have to think about the health of the pasture.
Pasture health is going to be the most important consideration as we're moving through managing this drought. And when we talk about pasture health, we need to consider all of our pastures. All of our pastures are not going to be capable of producing the same amount of forage. So if we get into an extended period of drought where we're having to feed a lot of supplemental feed, it's going to be important for producers to move to some of their lower quality pastures where they do the majority of their feeding. The reason is because these pastures are not going to recover as well anyway. And then if we abuse them or overgraze them a little bit more, we're going to have an idea of what needs to be go in and renovated. So instead of renovating every pasture, we're just focusing in on a couple of areas that probably would need a little extra help.
You can isolate it and rather than doing the whole thing. Okay, well, Daren, thank you so much for talking with us, and hopefully this helps some of the producers in Oklahoma.